How can a guy take over a failing Real Madrid and transform it into Europe's top football club in a single season? But how can this man achieve it and then be fired just a year later? And how does this man return to that club after 6 years to accomplish the same thing, but this time much better? This is the amazing story of how Carlo Ancelotti converted a trophyless Real Madrid into the deadliest football side in the world. In just two, Chapter 1. Original story. Carlo Ancelotti, former player and manager, began his journey at Real Madrid in 2013. He had a successful playing career, starting in Parma and moving to Roma before reaching his pinnacle with AC Milan. He played for 5 years and lifted 2 Champions League trophies in 1988 and 1992. However, his career ended at 33 due to knee injuries. In 1992, he was named manager of Regalo and quickly earned his stripes on the touchline. He then became the manager of Parma, where he learned a valuable lesson about his style of play. Carlos rejected Roberto Baggio, a player he considered a mistake, and instead made sure his tactics and management style would adapt to the team's players. This approach is evident in all of his Real Madrid sides. Carlo then landed the biggest job of his career, AC Milan, where he created one of the greatest football teams of all time. He also managed Chelsea and PSG, leading them to their first league title in almost 20 years. Carlos was called to manage the biggest football club in the world, Real Madrid, after Jose Mourinho was sacked. The team was in a poor position, having gone without a Champions League for over 10 years. However, the day Carlo arrived, everything changed. Chapter 2. Road to Glory. Real Madrid's 2013 season was not without challenges, but Angelotti's arrival brought about significant changes. He offloaded big names like Carvajal, Sken, Cacahiu, and Ozil, and used the funds to bring in Carvajal, Casemiro, Isco, Irene, and Gareth Bale for a world record transfer fee. The squad was in place, with Angel discovering his preferred formation with Casia Zine, a back four consisting of Carnal Pepe Ramos and Marcelo Xabi Alonso holding the midfield, and MRI and Di Maria playing ahead of him. The Champions League campaign began in August 2013 with a 2-1 victory over Batiste. They began the Champions League campaign in even better fashion with a 6-1 thumping over Gataron with a Ronaldo hat-trick, Bena brace, and an Esco goal. However, things went from bad to worse for Real Madrid, losing their first El Clasico of the season and losing their first La Liga El Clasico. In March, Real Madrid went unbeaten through all of November and December, reaching the Champions League knockout stages and climbing up the La Liga table. In May, they only managed to win 1 out of 4 games, leading to Atletico Madrid being the top La Liga team. In the cup competitions, Real Madrid managed to get revenge on both their rivals, winning the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona in April. In the Champions League, Real Madrid conquered European football for the first time in almost a decade, securing their 10th Champions League title in the group stage. Cristiano Ronaldo broke the Champions League goals scoring record with 17 goals in a season, while Bale and Benzema also broke the 20-goal mark. Alex Di Maria played a crucial role in this team, scoring 3 goals from Bale, Marcelo, and Ronaldo to seal the game 4-1, handing Real Madrid their historic 10th Champions League title. In Angelotti's second season in Madrid, they entered the 14-15 season strong, winning the UEFA Super Cup and going on a 22-game winning streak until January. However, things started to turn south for Real Madrid, losing 2-1 in El Clasico and being knocked out of the Copa del Rey by Atletico Madrid and the Champions League semifinals by Juventus. Real Madrid finished the season with no major trophies. Ronaldo had his best season ever, scoring 61 goals under Angelo. However, things turned south in the capital, and President Fiorentino Perez announced that Ronaldo would be relieved of his duties. Ancelotti won the hearts of both the board and fans, but the club needed a new impulse to win trophies and be at their best. Over the next 3 seasons, RA entered their Zidane era, winning back-to-back Champions League titles. Chapter 3. The Return. In 2015, Ancelotti was sacked by Madrid and took a year off coaching to undergo surgery. He then managed Bayern Munich, won the Bundesliga, and was sacked in his second season in 2018. He signed for Napoli but only lasted a year as coach there too before being sacked. Finally, he reached an all-time low of his career at Everton Football Club. In the summer of 2021, Carlo called up Real Madrid CEO José Ángel Sanchez to see if he could get any players to Everton. Sanchez replied that they were struggling to find a manager since Ronaldo and Zidane left in 2018. Ancelotti offered his service, and within 3 days, Ancelotti was out of Everton and back in the Burrell, where he would save Real Madrid for the second time in his career. Both Carlo and Real Madrid were in similar positions, seemingly past the peak of their powers and in need of a career revival. The core of the squad remained pretty similar to the team he left behind with MRI Cruz, Carvajal Nacho, Isco, Marcelo Camiro, and Karen Benz. However, newer younger players like Vinicius, Rodrigo Valverde, and Militiu were in serious need of guidance. Eduardo Camavinga was made a marquee signing, and ALA from Bayern Munich was brought in. The team was set for Season 1 before this year kicked off, and there were doubts over Real Madrid and what they could achieve. The biggest difference from his first season in Real Madrid was the lack of Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored over 50 goals per season. However, this year, K. Benzo began to prove himself as the main man, scoring a brace in the opening La Liga game. From the moment Carlo arrived, everything changed for him, and the team improved season after season. In the Champions League campaign, Real Madrid started with a rather rocky defeat to Sheriff in the group stage, but switched back on and won the remaining 5 group games. They also sat top of La Liga, holding a 2-point lead over second-place Sevilla. They eventually finished comfortably in first place with a 13-point lead, wrapping up in April of that year. Meanwhile, Madrid faced off against Man City in a pivotal matchup that would go on to win the whole tournament. The first leg saw a 4-3 thriller, with Benzema scoring a brace and Vinicius scoring the third. In the second leg, tensions were high, and Riyad Mahrez scored to give City a 2-goal lead. In the final game, Real Madrid held out and were crowned European champions in just his first season back. Ken Benzema finished the season with 43 goals, leaving him at Ballon d'Or. This entire Madrid team was on something special, having been counted out at the start of the season and now being crowned champions of Spain and Europe. Chapter 4. Super Team. Carlo Ancelotti returned to Madrid as the most successful coach in Champions League history, having turned a toxic team with negativity into a team with passion, friendship, and a vision. He signed Rudiger Andu, bringing more young talented players to the squad, while shifting out more of the old-guarded Marcel Escobar and Casemiro Ancelotti's men. The season began well, winning 10 out of the first 11 in La Liga, with players like Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Valde growing better and better. They won the first Clásico and advanced to their Champions League group. However, the World Cup broke up the season in December, and they couldn't find a strong vein of form in the league. When they returned, they couldn't go more than 2 wins in a row, leading to an eventual 10-point gap off first-place Barcelona in the Champions League. Although they made it to the semifinals, Manchester City got the better of them with a 5-1 aggregate defeat. Despite this, they still won the Copa del Rey and the Club World Cup throughout the season. The team was young and had a clear vision for the future. In the 23-24 season, things took a whole new level as Karim Benzema bid the club farewell after leading the team for the previous 2 years under Ancelotti. Joe Zelo, a nobody striker, was replaced by the best striker in the world, Joselo, who saved the team's entire season. Although Eden Hazard and Marco Asensio were offloaded, only Modric, Kroos, Cajal, and Nacho remained from his first season in charge. The team continued to rely on the new Galactico strategy, signing the best young talents in Europe and focusing on the team's future. Bellingham exceeded expectations, winning the La Liga Player of the Month in his first month and scoring goals for fun as a midfielder. The season was put into doubt early on when Thibaut Courtois tore his ACL, but the team progressed and Real Madrid was crowned La Liga champions for the second time in 3 years. In the Champions League campaign, Real Madrid faced off against Bayern Munich, who scored twice in the first leg and again in the 91st minute. In the final game, Real Madrid lifted their second Champions League trophy in 3 years and became third under Ancelotti. This season was significant in many ways. as it marked Toni Kroos's final game of football, as he retired at the very top, tied with three of his teammates at Madrid, Nacho, and Carvajal. Carlo Ancelotti now had lifted the Champions League trophy 7 times, 2 as a player and 5 as a manager, making him the most successful coach in the competition's history. The young Real Madrid team is a concern, especially with Kylian Mbappé joining the ranks. They now have a front four with Mbappé, Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Bellingham. Despite the massive egos, they have not had issues under Don Carlo Ancelotti, who has cultivated a team of friendship over egos. He has turned a failing Real Madrid side into the best team in Europe for the second time in his career.